Chamley channel. I'm Clint Chamley. You're here with Brian James today, and only Brian. Only two awkward men talking about sports. Let's get into the podcast. Let's talk about basketball. What's on with basketball today?
Memphis Grizzlies hitting their stride with Ja.
10-game winning streak. Ja is very, very good. Should he be in the MVP convo?
No, since he got hurt. If he did not get hurt, he would have kept his pace.
Didn't they win like 8 of those games without him?
Yes, they did break the record for the biggest gap in between point differential.
Okay. Let's talk about Lakers real quick. Anthony Davis. In my opinion, he is one of the most overrated players. What's your thoughts?
The injuries do hold him back. I still think he is a great player. He was better on the Pelicans, in my opinion. But when he went to Lakers, he went behind LeBron, obviously, and LeBron still carried the team. Just injuries, yes, do make him overrated.
He did take a secondary role when he went to Lakers, but in my personal opinion, I mean, in the last 2 years, he's missed over half the games. Is that correct?
Yeah.
It's one thing to have a superstar. It's another thing to have a superstar who plays. And when you have a superstar who doesn't play, what's he doing for you? Literally nothing. So he's not going to help the Lakers go back to the NBA Finals like they want to. So we're going to go straight to football now because there's not too much happening in basketball. Now we're going to talk about the NFL playoff Super Bowl prediction. Who do you got?
Buccaneers-Patriots. Buccaneers beating the Patriots 34-31.
And that is highly biased. Moving on. I have Packers-Chiefs, also highly biased. And I got Chiefs 35-21 in that. Now, not many field goals are going to be kicked in that. I mean, it's offense versus offense, you know.
Packers have that struggling special teams unit.
Mason Crosby still can hit field goals, even though he's 38?
He's getting out there, yeah.
He's very old, but going to play like Adam Vinatieri. All right. So, we mentioned our Super Bowl predictions, but we didn't mention who's in and who's out of the playoffs. Any surprise teams get in after last week, or any teams you didn't expect to be in?
Raiders are the big one, with a big win versus Chargers, obviously, to get into the playoffs. They held the Chargers' playoff chances in their hand on that final drive and just ruined it right in front of them with that game-winning field goal.
I honestly felt like it would have been better to end as a tie, but they're obviously division rivals. Obviously, Staley called a timeout. But I fully expected the Chargers to win that game. But Raiders came out, they came to play, and I'm okay with it because if the Chiefs ever face them, Raiders suck against the Chiefs. It's just facts.
Derek Carr gets his first playoff game.
After so many years. He does deserve it. He's been a very good quarterback. I wouldn't say great, but have been a very good quarterback for the Raiders throughout these years. So, let's look at the head coaching jobs. After the recent week, we've seen a lot of teams get fired. So, the New York Giants, they have the GM and head coach available. I personally think that every single team on here, including the Dolphins, they need to interview Brian Flores. He's the best available coach. He shouldn't have got fired in the first place. If you're not going for him, what are you doing?
There is a couple of college coaches like John Harbaugh you may want to bring in, at least interview. Jared Mayo for the Patriots, he was getting interviewed by the Broncos. There was something like that. If he would go to the Broncos, Patriots would get third-round picks due to a rule signed in 2020. Something like that.
So I really don't think the Broncos should get Mayo just for the simple fact that he's a defensive coach. They tried that with Vic. It did not work. It went very poorly. Their defense has been playing fine. They have a very good defense, very young defense. They need to work on the offensive side. That's why I would personally go with Brian Flores. He's got great game plans. He's got a great offensive side. I mean, he's made Tua work well, and Tua's been very mediocre. And if not, go with Eric Bieniemy. I mean, he's an offensive genius. He's been run to the Chiefs. Andy Reid, has coached him. I mean, what else could you want for a head coach?
Were the Broncos being held back by their head coach? Did they have enough offensive weapons?
They have weapons that aren't. They don't have special weapons. They have plenty of mediocre weapons. Cortland Sutton, he's probably a little above average, but Jerry Judy's got the potential to be great. Tim Patrick, he's been very solid. Javonte Williams, he's got a long future there. Melvin Gordon, he started playing on that last week. But how much can you do unless you have a very good offensive coordinator or head coach to guide them even further?
I do think if they do get an offensive-minded coach, I do think it will help Drew Lock a lot. But I don't know if he really is the future.
And do you think Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater will be on the team starting?
Teddy, once again, got hurt this year. That was an awful situation. But I do think Drew Lock, they should go with him. He is the future. They just got to build around him more. Teddy, may keep him as a backup and just like help Drew Lock.
I think Teddy personally is a better choice. Drew Lock obviously is younger, but I don't see Drew Lock progressing. I just don't think he's that good of a just try something. Trade for someone. I think Deshaun Watson going there would be insane, but that's unlikely. Teddy, he's proved what he can be, and that's all he can be. And he's injured. Drew Lock, he has upside, but he's shown a lot of downside. It's just a very iffy situation.
Likes to turn the ball over a lot. Chiefs game, he did look pretty good. He didn't turn the ball over, which was good. They almost beat the Chiefs off of that fumble snap.
So another coaching spot is the Vikings. They finally fired Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer obviously doesn't like the future quarterback of the Vikings. But he finally got fired, and to be honest, he wasn't getting the job done.
He was always on and off. They didn't know when they were going to go to the playoffs or something like that. Kirk Cousins, I think he was great for the Vikings this year. Very underrated this year. Underrated season overall.
They've been very, very good players this season. Arguably, quarterback this season. The Dolphins, after a surprise firing, have a head coaching spot. And they should have moved on from Ryan in the first place. But now that it is available, I'm not even sure where that's going. Probably John Harbaugh.
I think that was one of the leaders. They need an offensive-minded coach or a defensive-minded coach.
Well, how far would you go with It's not. They have so many young offensive weapons. They have very great defensive players in Javon Holland, Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, and they have so much young on offense. I'm honestly not sure where you're going to go with that. Probably offense. Again, I'd have to say Eric Bieniemy is on top of that, and Jim Harbaugh.
Rams offense coordinator also apparently being looked at a lot. Bills offense coordinator apparently is the best odds of becoming the coach. Doug Peterson, that's another
Another
big
one. He's got a very good offense. Broncos, we already talked about their head. Well, not really about their head coaching spot. Oh yeah, we did.
Kellen Moore, is that a big one for the Broncos?
Kellen Moore does not deserve a head coaching spot this year, and neither
This
does
year.
Dan Quinn.
Later,
I'm saying later on, Dan Quinn's too old, honestly, to get another chance. He should stay where he is. Kellen Moore, he's coached very well. He's young. I would not take the chance on him yet. I would wait a couple more years. The Bears have their GM and head coaching job available. Pace got fired, and Matt Nagy finally got the boot. He definitely has deserved that ever since after the first year. He deserved it. What do you think about that?
I think they need to get a head coach to build around Justin Fields. But what coach is going to help a lot with that. They got to make it their own system for Justin Fields. Build around your future.
They've had obviously a very solid defense, and I think the only issue is Brian Flores didn't want to it and develop him. What if Brian doesn't want Justin Fields? Is he not going to develop him? But he's obviously a great coach. How would that go? I do think an offensive minded coach would be the best suited in Chicago.
Yeah, their defense is always Cleo Mack's going to return, of course, next year. That'll help a lot.
Roquan Smith is nice and young. They got corners. They got Leonard Floyd. They got Robert Quinn. Who's getting up there. They're still playing.
Coaching at a college
Jacksonville Jaguars. Now head coach Butterfield, Urban Meyer. Nothing needs to be said. That was the most embarrassing thing that ever happened. What do you think about that?
Well, they're going to take another shot at a college coach that they may have experienced. Done that. Of course, Flores should be looking for someone who's the leading candidate for a lot of places.
I mean, I wouldn't take the chance with another college coach just because of how badly they turned out. I know that Bill O'Brien they're interviewing, that's probably the dumbest thing they could have done, but that's probably why they'll go there, because that's probably the worst head coach they can choose.
Yeah, of course, they would choose him. That's just the way Jacksonville has been the past couple years. Whole time, really.
I think they should go with probably Doug Peterson, because Peterson had the best years under Doug Peterson. But, yeah, if they hire Bill O'Brien, he's a horrible coach.
Coach-wise,
And an even worse
yes.
GM.
He was doing fine offensive coordinator-wise for Alabama. But I don't think he does deserve another shot as head coach and GM.
Especially not GM. That was
The
Wow.
trade was terrible.
every trade he did was horrible. Didn't they cut JJ Watt too? Or not?
He requested it, yeah.
Yeah, still. I wouldn't want to play there either. Yikes. Let's talk about of all time, in your opinion, who's the best quarterback?
Tom Brady, he's got 7 Super Bowls. May get one this year. I just don't think they'll have enough weapons. But they do have Tom Brady.
I do agree. Tom Brady's the best quarterback of all time. That's a pretty easy question. Here's the quarterback.
And Barry Sanders, who had played longer in his career, very early retirement. I do think Walter Payton
I think if Barry Sanders, skill-wise, I think he was the best. It's just kind of dead away. I think Emmitt Smith was good, but he had an offensive line on like Adrian Peterson. People highly underlook him on the all-time list. Jim Brown. He's Jim Brown. He played with buckets on his head, and he just was insane. Barry Sanders and Walter Payton probably top 2 though. Who's the best wide receiver of all time?
I think it is Jerry Rice. He had a great quarterback. Played in his 40s. He was even pretty good in his 40s. Not like he was when he was younger, but he still kept that longevity throughout his whole career.
I will agree with Jerry Rice, but in terms of the 2 spot, Calvin Johnson's got to be up there. He's been insane. He was double team pressed on almost every play just because that's how good he was.
Randy Moss.
Randy Moss and Calvin Johnson are probably 2 and 3 for me.
There are really great receivers in the NFL right now.
And they have the potential to be up on this list by the end of their careers. Best tight end of all time.
It's either Tony Gonzalez or Antonio Gates, in my opinion, but I'm going to go with Gonzalez because he was just such a great player for the Falcons and Chiefs.
I'm going to agree with Tony Gonzalez. I think top 4, and I think most people can agree with this all time. Actually, top 5. Tony Gonzalez, in no specific order. Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates, Shannon Sharp, and Travis Kelce. And Rob is up there too. Travis Kelce might be a bit biased, but he has been very good. So top 5 definitely. They're all up there. Talk about issues with NFL teams. This will be the last subject we covered. What's the issue with the Dallas Cowboys? Are they missing that means they won't be able to play?
McCarthy probably might be not the greatest for them. That may be the one holding them back. Dak is also not playing as great as he should, as he was at the beginning of the season. I do think they will start to click more. I think they
I think the biggest issue would be consistency. Dak has been very well, very well, and whenever he doesn't, he doesn't play really well at all anymore with his coaching. Sometimes it's on, sometimes it's off. They just need to be more consistent. Rams, is there anything you see wrong?
They have lots of superstars. I think they'll win right now. But I still think Stafford, I looked at it today, he was tied for the most interceptions this season with Trevor Lawrence. He's got to cut those down. That is a big thing to have going to the playoffs.
Stafford has started to struggle, and I think that's one of the biggest issues right now is the recent struggles of Stafford. He obviously started off the year hot, but that's fixed. I can see him pretty far.
Eric Weddle, unretired as of recording this, to go play for the Rams. I don't know if he'll be a big weapon for him, but I think he'll still do a little bit.
We had the New York Giants. I think every single part is an issue there. James Bradbury is about the only non-issue there. And Leonard Williams.
They continue to stick with Daniel Jones. I do not think that's a good decision. They need to at least try someone else. They tried Jake Fromm and Mike Glennon. They did terrible. Just completely terrible for them in the past. However many weeks Daniel Jones was out. Daniel Jones, turnovers are a really big issue with him because he is very fast as a quarterback. That's another skill to him.
The Pittsburgh Steelers. I have to say their quarterback, they're kind of and their defense hasn't played amazing at times.
P.J. Watt, really the only consistent-ish player.
Tied the sack record this season.
Big accomplishment. And it wasn't on a free sack.
He's actually getting something huge to see if they're going to count the sack that they put on the New England Patriots.
Receivers, they don't have that number one receiver. They're developing, obviously, but they're still not that number one receiver type person that they really Nikhil Harris is that
I would agree. They just don't have any weapons to do much. And this isn't an issue. This is actually a good thing, but it's an issue for this season playoffs. If they have a rookie quarterback, and rookie quarterbacks and playoffs don't go well together, but in the future years, they're going to be very happy that they have that rookie quarterback. The San Francisco 49ers.
They got to figure out their QB situation if they're going to go with Garoppolo long term or Trey Lance. I think they'll eventually go Trey Lance, but Garoppolo has been playing pretty decent for them, enough to get them to the playoffs.
I do have to agree. I think they should let Garoppolo play these playoffs, and just because he's been playing well and they are a somewhat contending team, I think they need to let him play, up his value, trade him in the offseason, and stick with Trey Lance for next season. And a lot of their issues are just, well, their secondary hasn't been the best, but a lot of it's just health issues, a lot of injuries. The Seattle Seahawks.
Russell Wilson, if he gets back to what he was before his injury, I do think that'll help a lot with them, as they were going to be successful, I think, in my opinion, before he got hurt. Like they had a good game versus Cardinals even. Penny started to get going towards the end of the season. That should be really good for him.
I think the only real big issue with the Seahawks is their defense. Their offense was okay. Russell Wilson got hurt and it went downhill, but their defense stays on the field for probably more than half the game. They actually were the worst in the league in terms of getting on the field. They were always on the field, and that just doesn't do much. Kansas City Chiefs.
Cornerbacks. They do have developing cornerbacks like Snead, but they still need that number one corner they can lean on as Snead continues to develop.
I have to agree. I'm going to have to say corners. Their running game has been picked up recently, and the only thing they're missing is a lockdown corner. Their safeties have been on and off. One Hill's developing. Besides the Jerry Snead, you don't have too many amazing corners. Sean Fenton, Davies, Rose are okay. New York Jets.
A lot of things wrong with coaching. Zach Wilson did start to play a little bit better after his injury came back, started to be better. I think they need to build more around him.
Green Bay Packers. I'm going to have to say receivers outside of the
Lazard's starting to step up a little bit, but yeah, I can agree with that.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to probably have to say offensive weapons because of injuries and Antonio Brown being Antonio Brown. Other than that, they were flying up the line.
Yeah, injury is a big one for them. They just need to get back.
Eagles. They haven't really had a running game, even though they have Miles Sanders. They're just very, very young. Their defense is mediocre. They're just young and developing.
Minshew, I think they do need to trade him somewhere.
Bears. I'm going to have to say they're just a very young team. They had very bad coaching. They had a very bad game. Their defense is besides a couple of big stars. Offense, they're just very young. They didn't use Allen Robinson, but they have Darnell Mooney, who's been very good. Their offensive line is not very good, but they just got a lot of things.
I agree with that a lot. They do need to develop or get rid of Robinson and figure out what to do with him.
The Raiders, I'm going to have to say they just don't have a star on offense. Derek Carr, he's okay. He won't be amazing. Their weapons, non-existent. Defense,
They have Darren Waller, that's big when Titans wise, but receiver Renfro he's developed a lot, but they still need, I think, a cornerstone receiver.
Waller's a star when he plays well. The Ravens, right now it's quarterbacking. We'll be breaking down the rest of the problems with each team on the next episode.